Justin from Elite Aquaria here to go over the maintenance of your new aquarium. Um, it's going to be broken down into daily, weekly, and monthly responsibilities. The only thing you have to worry about daily is feeding your fish. Now, in terms of feeding your fish, that's the number one issue in aquariums is overfeeding them. Just a rule of thumb is the fish's stomach is about the size of their eyeball, to kind of give you a sense of how much food is going in there. And we included a very small pellet food, and you're going to actually only give about 16 pellets of food per feeding, which is a very tiny amount, a very tiny pinch, and that can go right into the opening in the aquarium once a day. The next thing is most likely a weekly responsibility with the aquarium. We included in the setup a magnet to help you clean off the glass. The glass will develop a film of algae on it, and it's very simple. There's one side that goes into the aquarium, there's a wet side and a dry side. The dry side is the one with the handle on it. Very simple, just like an eraser. You're going to slowly go back and forth in the aquarium, and that'll take any algae that's on the inside of the surface of the aquarium right off. And you just go right around the aquarium, and when you get to a corner, you just go nice and slowly, and it'll jump to the other side of the tank. Now, a couple things to consider when you're doing when you're doing the magnet. If you go too fast, your magnet on the inside may fall off. This is a nice design that makes sure that the magnet stands up when it falls. Real simple, just go back over it and the magnet will pull it back into place. The biggest concern with the magnet is to make sure that there's never a rock or a piece of dirt stuck between the inside magnet and the glass. That could cause scratching to the glass, and once the glass is scratched, it'll never come out. So you have to be very careful of that. If you were to drop the magnet and a rock was to get stuck in there, I would remove the outside magnet, take the lid off, reach your hand in there, clean off the inside magnet, and then reattach the outside magnet. For nice easy storage, you can leave it in one of the corners of your aquarium. As you see, I did to get a drip. It's always nice to have paper towels around when you're doing your maintenance on the tank, so it's nice and quick cleanup. In terms of the monthly maintenance, or again weekly maintenance, like whenever you have water around, there's going to be evaporation. So as the week goes on, some water is going to evaporate out of your tank, and you'll see the water level slowly going down. It's completely an aesthetics issue. So once the water gets down a little bit, you can just fill the water back up with the pitcher that you have. Just take water from the sink, and you're going to make sure that it's, again, room temperature. Whenever we're adding water from our tap, we're going to make sure we dechlorinate it. Again, it's 2 drops per gallon. You're never going to be adding a full gallon during your top off. So it'll just be one drip into it, and then you just pour it right in and bring it back up to the level that you want the aquarium to be at. So that takes care of all the weekly maintenance. Another thing, you may get fingerprints on the glass, or after some of the maintenance, you may get water drips. It's important not to use, oh, we just lost the light. The timer ran out. We'll just quickly turn that back on. It's important that you don't use a Windex on the glass, directly on the glass. So a lot of those cleaners have ammonia in it. If any of that were to be sprayed into the aquarium, it'd be very harmful for the fish. So if you are going to use a Windex or a glass cleaner that does have ammonia in it, away from the aquarium, squirt the paper towel with the Windex or the glass cleaner, and then bring the paper towel to the window and clean it. There are aquarium specific glass cleaners that don't have ammonia in it, that you can use and spray directly onto the tank and wipe it off. All right, in terms of monthly maintenance is the water change in your aquarium. So the filters in the aquarium, they process fish waste to a certain extent, and then we need to dilute the fish waste at that point, and that's why we do water changes and make sure that the water chemistry stays clean enough for the fish to thrive. When we're doing our water change, we're going to remove our lid. I like to clean the algae beforehand, so with your magnet, you're going to want to go around, stir up any of the rocks to get all the, let's put this underneath so we can see. You're going to clean off the algae first, and then you're going to shut off your heater and your filter by unplugging them. So the heater's unplugged, and then our filter is unplugged, and we know it's stopped because there's no more water coming out of the filter. Then we're either going to take our hand, or we can use the magnet, but we want to stir up the gravel. We want to get it all stirred up, so, or a stick, you know, there's different types of scrapers that we can use. There's also, we included the net, so to see what that would look like, we would just take the net, you know, kind of turn it upside down, and we just want to stir up all the gravel for any uneaten food or fish waste to get stirred up into the water column, so that way when we're removing water, we remove a lot of those issues at the same time. The fish, they stay in the aquarium, they'll get used to it, they will freak out a little bit, but they'll eventually get used to your hand being in and out. We're going to then take the pitcher. Now when I'm doing a water change, I always like to kind of set up beforehand and have 2 buckets. I'll take 1 bucket and have it empty, and that's where we'll take the water from the aquarium and pour it into the empty bucket. And I also take a 5-gallon bucket and fill it up about halfway, because we're going to do about a 30 to 40% water change. Fill it up with our water so we can quickly add the new water. The water that we're going to put in, same as always, it's going to be room temperature water. So after we've stirred up the water and getting all the uneaten food and fish waste into the water column, I'm going to use our pitcher. We're just going to pull water out of the tank, put it into our empty bucket. And as I said before, we want to do about a 30 to 40% water change. And we're doing this about once every 4 weeks. Even if the tank looks clean and the water looks clear, the chemistry of the water still is it's starting to get off balance because of the time the fish have been in there. And remember, our filters are off, so we'll take about 1 more pitcher out, and that's about all we need to do. Now when we have our last pitcher of water, we're going to clean out the filter at the same time. So we take the lid off the filter. Inside the filter, there's mechanical filter and our chemical filter. Now this mechanical filter is catching any uneaten food or fish waste that's in the water column. It's sucking it up into the filter and catching it in the cartridge. When this is dirty, it'll be a brown color, and the water won't flow through it as well. This gets discarded whenever we're doing a filter cleanup, like again, once every 4 weeks. We'll put a link in the description as to the exact filter to use for this. So this would get thrown out. In there also you'll see a black sponge. This black sponge is where our biological filter, our bacteria is going to grow. And it will catch some food and some waste, so it will get dirty. And what we're going to do with that is we're just going to take it into the last cupful of pitcher water, and we're just going to squeeze it out so that there's nothing in there. It's nice and clean, and that gets put right back into its slot. And then we're going to take our clean filter, and they write on it front and back. We'll put it to the front and forward, obviously. And then our filter's all cleaned out. And we'll take the last pitcher of water and dump it out. You may hear my my little assistant in the background. He's just making sure that I tell you guys everything that you need to remember. So now that we have the water drained, we're gonna then take our clean water, which we added our dechlorinator to. Again, we're taking out about 2 gallons of water, so we're going to put our dechlorinator in to the directions on the dechlorinator, which is 2 drops per gallon, making sure that it's room temperature. And it's just like when we were first setting up the aquarium. We're going to take it, put our hand in there so we don't stir up too much of the gravel as we're adding it. One more pitcher full. With this pitcher, we completed our water change. Now any issues that are in the aquarium in terms of the balance of the chemistry of the water has been balanced out, because now we have clean water into the tank. We're going to plug our filter back in and our heater, and we'll hear the hum of the filter and see the water coming out of the filter. And that's everything for the water change. The one last thing that we need to do is put our lid back on. Now the plants within the aquarium, they're living plants. That means they'll grow and they'll kind of spread out. You know, depending on water chemistry and the amount of time you leave the lights on, will change the actual growth of the plant. If you do need to trim it up, if it's getting a little bit overrun with plants, you just take regular scissors and you can go in there and clip out any plants that need to be trimmed up. But that is all the maintenance for the aquarium.